For those of you that are new here, I am Nancy from Nancy Inspired, and I have a gift that I call soul telepathy. I am able to hear what your soul is trying to tell you. When I do individual readings for people, it's what your own soul is trying to tell you on your evolution, on your journey. When I do collective readings like this, it's what is the collective messaging for the group, including myself. I'm on this journey with you. And the first part of the live is the collective messaging, and the second part of the live is individual messages. Don't put your name in yet for individual messages because it'll get lost. I will let you know when I'm ready and I write it down. If I don't get to all of you today, next week when I'm back, I put the people that I missed at the top of the list. Or if it's not next week, the week after. And thank you, Paula. I appreciate that. I was out this morning for a little, it's Thanksgiving where I am. So I was out for a little Thanksgiving celebration with my son. And so yeah, I decided to, I even put little flowers in my hair. So yeah. All right. Yes, I hope everyone is all well. Hello, Angela. Hello, Anna. Hello, Johnny. Wonderful. I've missed you all. I've missed you all. Oh, Adarni, yeah, good question. We're on strike. The teachers where I am, 51,000 teachers in our province voted 90%, well, 89 point something percent to strike because of classroom conditions and needing, we're, you know, the least funded in the whole country. And so yeah, I'm on strike. So I do have more time for individual readings. I'm not supposed to advertise, but if anyone wants individual readings, reach out to me because I definitely have more time right now while we are on strike. So, all right, without further ado, hello, Jamie. Hello, Jasmine. Wonderful. Let's get started. So the first thing I like to do is just do a little clearing. Hello, Stephanie. So I'm just going to invite you to close your eyes for a minute. And first we're going to cleanse, clear, and balance the space. So we're going to cleanse, clear, and balance our hearts, our minds, our bodies, and our spirits on all levels for our highest and best good. If it is safe to do so, close down your eyes for a moment. Just imagine a white blue light swirling around you, just clearing out anything that doesn't serve at this moment in time. As the light swirls counterclockwise, just pulls out anything that doesn't serve. So we're going to cleanse, clear, and balance our hearts, our minds, our bodies, and our spirits on all levels for our highest and best good. And we're also just going to clear out anything that doesn't belong in this collective space. So if it's not for everyone's highest and best good here, we just invite it to leave, be taken to the feet of God. Cleanse, clear, and balance our hearts, our minds, our bodies, and our spirits on all levels for our highest and best good. And then I'm also going to add, as the energy, I'm just waiting for it to stop clearing. It's doing some work today. We must have a bit of clearing to do. This is taking a little bit longer. That's okay. We'll just take a deep breath, a couple more deep breaths. There we go. Okay, we're done. And so now we're also just going to create a container, a bubble. It's a semi-permeable membrane that allows love and joy and bliss in and removes anything that does not belong, and it doesn't allow anything in that isn't for everyone's highest and best good. All right, and then I ask a question: can I, may, and shall I connect to my Insight Timer friends and family, both those that are listening now and those that come on later? Getting a clear yes. Is there any reason why I shouldn't at this moment in time? No, that's good. I was a little concerned because I had a couple glasses of wine last night. Sometimes if I have any kind of alcohol within 24 hours, sometimes it affects things, but no. All right, so no. Then I ask that everyone's intuition be raised to the highest level that they can accommodate with at this moment in time. Allow their souls to speak freely and clearly for everyone's highest and best good. All right. We are ready to begin. Hello, Kath and Claudia and Stephanie and Jasmine and Jamie. Wonderful. Hello, everybody. Cheers. Drinking some tea. Let's get started. It's mint fennel tea today. All right, let's get started. What are we here for collective messaging for today? Okay. I knew this was going to come up. Boundaries, 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 boundaries. So there, I knew this was going to come up today. All right. There's a difference between being compassionate and understanding and accommodating and allowing people to walk over your boundaries or challenge your boundaries. And sometimes that's a fine line because we want to be non-judgmental. We want to be open-minded. We want to be accommodating. We want to support people. We want to, show our compassion and our love and our empathy. Well, we can show our compassion and our love and our empathy and maintain our solid boundaries. If somebody is behaving in a way that is contrary to your energy and what you need, and perhaps being disrespectful or things like that, by setting a boundary and removing yourself, you're not being mean, you're not being unkind. What you might be doing is giving them an opportunity to elevate. If you tell them, I'm not comfortable when you do this, or I'm going to remove myself when you're behaving in this way, it gives them an opportunity to rise and be like, oh, self-reflection. Maybe I'm behaving in a certain way that's making people uncomfortable. Maybe I need to grow and learn and try to make some changes. So I had a situation the other day that was like this. And I, as most of you know, my nemesis is boundary setting and learning how to set very strong boundaries, and I'm getting better and better at it all the time. But I did a meditation this morning on boundary setting, and I was given 3 images, three visits. So I think some of you joined me on my meditation where I kind of take us on a journey and we sit in a meadow and we meet whoever it is that's talking to us. That's one of my regular meditations. Well, today I met 3 little beings that, or big beings, whatever, that shared with me about boundary setting today. And I knew this was going to come up today because it seems to be a theme in the last few days. One of them was a wolf. And the first part, so right away we think, oh, wolf, big, strong, and powerful. But what the message was is that a wolf doesn't have to bark and snarl and growl and bite. It just has to stand in its presence. It just has to stand in its power. Nobody is going to go up and approach a wolf and just be like, hey, buddy, blah, blah, blah. They're going to approach with caution. They're going to approach with respect. They're going to approach with care. And so the message of the wolf in terms of boundary setting was stand in your presence. Own what you deserve, what is important to you, what you don't have to say it, you don't have to yell it, we don't have to snarl and growl. We can stand in that presence, which commands presence and says, no, you can't treat me this way, or you can't speak to me this way. And it's not about these big advertisements, it's about standing in your presence like the wolf. The other being that came was a mouse, quite a contrast. And I had to ask, hey, mouse, what do you have to do with boundary setting? And the mouse said, I live in fear all the time, but I am brave because even though I'm in fear all the time because of, basically being a prey to anything, it still shows up and ventures forth and then goes back to create its own nest, its own sanctuary. So even though it's afraid and it's small, it continues to show up all the time. So when you are afraid to set boundaries because you're afraid of the repercussions, or you're afraid of how someone's going to react, or you're afraid of being judged, or maybe even judge yourself. If I set this boundary, I'm mean, or I'm not as kind as I want to be, or whatever. The mouse says, I'm afraid all the time, and I continue to show up. I continue to be present, and mice are present. If you've ever had a mouse in your house and you've got mouse poop somewhere, they are definitely present. And so mice show up even if they are afraid all the time. And so that was the second message about boundary setting. The third was a wasp. And I asked the wasp, why are you here to teach me about boundary setting? And the wasp, again, although small, commands a presence. Just its buzz says, I am here and I need to be respected. And it's not obtrusive. It's not, buzzing in your face all the time. Oh, I'm big. I can, it's just there. And its mere presence says, I am to be respected. And a wasp sting is a sharp, powerful no. And sometimes when we are being faced with boundaries, it's that sharp, powerful no. Unapologetic, no. You've crossed my boundary, no, right? And it's that sharp, quick, unapologetic no that the wasp teaches us. So that was my meditation this morning. And I've been kind of reflecting on it all day. And I knew it was going to come up today. And just something to think about. So where this translates for us is that what I'm hearing is that there's a number of us, including myself, that always wants to see the best in people, always wants to see the best in every situation, and can be compassionate, understanding. Oh, they're behaving this way because they have abandonment issues. Oh, they're behaving this way because of generational trauma. They're behaving this way because of this, right? And that is great, to be compassionate and understanding. However, if their behavior is crossing your boundaries, hurting you in some way, then you are not being kind to yourself or to them by allowing it to continue. What would be kinder is to stand in your presence like the wolf, to face your fears like the mouse, and give the sharp but direct, no, I am not accepting this. And then it gives them the chance to rise. By holding firm and standing your boundaries, it gives them the chance to rise. And I'm hearing that loudly for all of us, that just because we understand, just because we can empathize, does not mean it's okay. Hopefully, you hold yourself accountable. If you're angry, it's okay to be angry. In fact, it's good to be angry, to channel your anger. It's good to be decisive and channel your anger. However, it's not okay to yell and scream and rant and rave and hurt people. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to hold on to some sadness and grief and loss and be in that space. But it's not okay to cry and not ever get out of that space. It's important that we find ways to maneuver out of that space, right? It's okay. All of the feelings, all of the emotions are okay, but what we do with them is not okay. Hopefully you hold yourself to a standard where you're not hurting people. And because you hold yourself to that standard, it's also important to hold others to that standard. I expect that you're not going to hurt me. I expect that you're not going to disrespect me. I expect that you're going to listen and respect me. We might not agree, and that's okay, but I expect, and I'm going to stand in the presence of that wolf. I'm going to stand in that presence of the mouse, even though they're afraid. I'm going to stand and hold my ground like the wasp that commands the space, even though it's small. In order to allow others around me to elevate to the standard that I expect them to have. And so that's the second part of the message I'm hearing, is hold people and situations, organizations even, accountable to the same standards you hold yourself. Hopefully you are all people that treat others with respect and kindness and dignity and all those things. And so it is right that we expect that everybody else holds that same level of elevated, energetic discourse is the word that I just heard. Elevated, energetic discourse is what we are supposed to be holding ourselves to and holding others to. And part of that is boundary setting. So you are not mean, you are not selfish by setting boundaries. You are actually elevating human consciousness by setting boundaries and holding others accountable. Whew, that was a mouthful. Let me just hear. Yes. Symbolism, the animal symbolism, powerful message from the wolf. Absolutely. Hello, Alicia and Tatiana. I'm just reading the thing. All the messages are about setting your boundaries. Yes, they are all powerful messages. It was a really beautiful meditation. Message aligns beautifully with this full moon in Aries, as this is what it is calling us to do. Show up in our relationships in authenticity, but setting the boundaries between you and I, standing in your power in these relationships, no matter what, being true to yourself and authenticity. Absolutely. No matter what, being true to yourself, your authenticity, your heart. Just like the mouse, being, prey to everything, but still shows up. Very powerful message. Reminds me of a message Gloria got while chanting on her live, where Spirit said, fear is okay, but don't be afraid of being afraid. Beautiful. That's exactly what the mouse is saying. Don't be afraid of being afraid. Acknowledge that you're afraid and show up anyway. And beautiful, beautiful messages. Gloria, you and I seem to be we must get our messaging from similar places, because that happens often. Where I'll say something and then you'll let me know, or someone else will let me know that was a message that you also received. I find it validating, if I'm honest. All right, so boundary setting. I also was reflecting on the new moon, or the full moon in Aries, as I was setting down to meditate today. All right. What is the next bit of messaging for my insight timer, friends and family? What am I hearing? Interesting. It was in my ears. I could feel my ears. What's happening in my ears? Okay. All right. So, okay. Part of, like a second part of boundary setting, is about listening and hearing and recognizing when boundaries are being crossed, or are being affected. And what I got was a couple feelings. Like, first, it was like underwater. Like when you're trying to hear things underwater, it's just a muffled bunch of nonsense, right? Can't really hear anything, just noises. Then the next thing I heard was felt was like this prickly, sharp, like almost screechy feeling, like when you're listening to something that's really too loud and it kind of hurts your ears. That was the next feeling. What I'm hearing is, be careful of the extremes. Be careful of the muffled vagueness of complacency and sort of general excuses and kind of, this is just how it is. We're taught that this is wrong because everybody knows this is wrong, or this is right because everybody knows this is right. And these like vague generalities, that's like the underwater stuff, where we're sort of caught up in sort of the words I'm hearing is mass communication, or these generalities that don't apply to every situation. That is like listening underwater. Then the next one is the sharp, the too loud. And those are the ones that are like my way is right and you're wrong, or undermining, or gaslighty, or like there's something wrong with you if you don't believe like me, or there's something wrong with you if you don't behave like me. And these are these sharp things. What I'm hearing is that we need to be somewhere in the middle, where we're able to hear our own boundaries and our own beliefs and our own feelings of what's right and wrong, as opposed to this sort of muffled generality, or these, shouted, it just feels very like pointed, sharp, we need to be somewhere in the middle, where we have a chance to breathe for a moment and listen. Be like, okay, why am I uncomfortable with this? Is it a learning that I have to have? Is it something that I don't understand and I need to learn more about? Am I uncomfortable because of boundaries being crossed, because I'm being affected in some way? And it's asking us to learn to listen to that middle area, rather than, the shouts and the this is and the sort of, the word I'm here, dogma, the absolutes, those aren't, I'm hearing those are not relevant. And then the vague generalities that sort of make excuses for everything are also not relevant. We need to focus somewhere. Oh, locked beliefs, Fennel. That's a great way. As soon as I read that, I felt that. We have to learn to be honest with ourselves. When we're caught in the underwater, the vague generalities, what happens is we start to make excuses for things. Oh, they're not like that all the time. It's only been this one time, or oh, it's only been a couple times, and the rest of the time they're really great, or this is this, and we start to make excuses, and it all sort of gets washed out and muffled. Okay. Now I'm not talking about forgiving and moving on and moving forward and learning. I'm talking about this sort of blocking out, this muffled when our boundaries are being crossed, when there's something that we need changed. It's really important that we're listening to these things so that we can stand strong, that we can hold ourselves and others accountable. And I'm hearing again that to emphasize the responsibility of that when we hold others accountable to higher vibrational action, we are then in turn elevating human vibration. So when I received this gift, it was in a dream, and I was told that my job is to help elevate human consciousness one person at a time. And then I was given this gift to be able to hear the way I hear, or feel the way I feel. And so I hold that. So whether I'm talking to a group of, well, there's 38 of you here now, whether I'm talking to a group of 38, talking to a group of 500, talking to one, my job, or even not talking, that's what I just heard, even when you're not talking to anybody, just your own being, when you live in a higher vibrational way, even just your own being automatically starts to elevate human consciousness, starts to elevate what's going on around you. And so when we hold others accountable, and I'm not talking about like saying you need to do this or you need to do this, it's about being like the wolf and standing in your presence, being like the mouse and facing your fears, being like the wasp and saying no in a quick, direct way. It makes it so that they have the opportunity to elevate. We're always doing it with loving kindness. And so by standing in your boundaries, you are actually doing your job on this planet, which is to help elevate human consciousness. By setting boundaries, allowing people to rise, you are then doing your job. So it's not something about being selfish. It's not about being needy. It's not about being picky. I am helping to elevate human consciousness by setting boundaries in terms of how I need to be treated. And, everybody has their own things as where their boundaries are, but that's where we need to learn to listen and celebrate that, celebrate the ability we've been given to have free will and set those boundaries. All right, I'm just hearing 68. Oh, actually, what I see, it says 72 joined, 41 here now. So it means overall, I think 72 people have come on and come off or something like that. But there's 41 that are listening right now. I think that's how that works. And I'm honored that each and every one of you are here. And I have missed you the last couple of weeks. Okay, let's see. Next bit of messaging. What is going on? Okay, so it was right away in the crown chakra. I just felt it like it descended, actually, like a crown. It just kind of gently placed like a coronation, like a crown on the top of my head. And as I'm listening to that, like, why a crown? And all right, okay, that gets complicated. Okay, here we go. What it's saying is, the reason why it's a crown is because when you think about the human system of monarchy and whatnot, there's a purpose and a place. So someone is born into that purpose and place, that crown. It's a reminder that we too have been born into a purpose and place. We have a legacy. We have we are heirs to our destiny, to our reason for being here, and we are crowned into this space. And to remind ourselves that we have a place and a purpose here, and our purpose is to elevate ourselves and all of mankind, all of human consciousness. That is our job. And the reason why it was like a crown being placed on my head is because it's a reminder that we are being called to step into our power, to step into what we are here to do and learn. And what we are here to do is not necessarily like our job or our family or whatever. It's who we are. So I actually just shared this story the other day when I did a personal reading for somebody. So it must be floating around in the ether as something important. So when I was teaching grade 2, I had this young man who was just so unique. He was such a unique human, and just so full of love and compassion. And he had the biggest heart I've ever encountered. And one day, this little boy was lining up to go to recess, and he just looked dejected and sad. And I asked him what was wrong, and he said, "I just feel so ordinary." And my response to him was, "Oh, hon, you are so far from ordinary. You are extraordinary." And that's what I'm hearing, is that each one of us is extraordinary. Now, okay, might sound like I'm placating. Everyone's special. But each one of us has come here with a specific path, a specific purpose, specific learning, specific experiences, all those different things. And there's a certain point in time, and I'm feeling that a lot of us are at that point in time where we are now being crowned into our legacy. This is what we have come here to do. And it might not show up as, bells and whistles and this and that. It might be something small. It might be something subtle. Hearing to tell you a story, my grandmother used to tell me that I had 2 guardian angels because I was clumsy and reckless, and they had to work hard to keep me on this planet. But I had 2 guardian angels, and it was because my purpose was to influence somebody. And she said it might be more than one somebody, it might be lots of somebodies, but I may never ever know what kind of influence I had on somebody. But my job is to influence somebody to do great things. So I took that to heart, and I think about that all the time, in that I don't know when those moments are. I don't know when it's somebody I've smiled at or said good morning to or held a door for, or maybe it's somebody I've actually helped when I went to volunteer, or maybe it's a student I talked to. Maybe it's one of you when I'm doing individual readings. I don't know who I'm going to influence, but I know that my job here is to influence people to do great things, whatever those great things are. I'm not talking that they're going to bring on world peace and change the planet. They might, but their great thing might be that they then in turn smile at somebody or hold a door or volunteer or whatever. And so we don't know the influence we have. And so what I'm hearing is to step into your legacy, step into your coronation, step into your crown, into the place that you have been born for. What have you been born to do? How have you been born to elevate human consciousness? What gifts do you bring? And before I hear you say, I don't know what my gifts are, you have been born at this time, in this place, in this lifetime, to elevate human consciousness. Bottom line, that's your job. Now, how you do it could be anything. And like I said, it might just be being a smile as somebody is walking down the street. Maybe they're having a really bad day and they look up and they see you smile and like, oh, that person seems nice. And that's all it needs to be, right? But you have been born to elevate human consciousness. Now, some of you are called to teach. Some of you are called to sing, is the word I just heard. So I don't know if there's someone in particular. I am actually hearing that there's someone in particular that is wanting to pursue music and do music. I don't know who it is, but there is somebody that I'm being given a direct message for that has been considering pursuing music, but is like holding back. If this is resonating with you, this is probably for you. But yes, sing is another way that you can help elevate human consciousness. To write, to speak, and just to be is a way to help elevate human consciousness. And that is your crown, is your legacy, and this is funny, your responsibility. So just now, as I was like, crown, when you think about monarchy, not that I know a whole lot about monarchy, there is a responsibility. Historically, there's a responsibility with the crown. Has it always been used appropriately? I don't know. I'm going to reserve judgment on that. There's been many people in royalty that have not done a great job, but there is a responsibility with this crown. Well, as we step into ourselves, into our power, into our ability to elevate human consciousness, we are actually stepping into the responsibility that is our job. That is our job. We need to show up. Hearing to tell you a story. I was traveling with a friend, and this friend sometimes gets temper gets the better of them, especially when they're driving. And one time we were driving and he yelled at somebody. And I pulled over the car because I was driving, and I was like, never, ever do that while I am in the car. I don't know who that person is. That person might be one of my students' parents. It might be a fellow teacher. It might be somebody I've worked with. It might be somebody that needs some help. It might be somebody that's struggling. I don't know who that person is, and I don't care if they cut you off. You'll live, you'll survive. Please never do that in my presence again. We don't know who the people are that we're going to influence, but simply by living in an elevated way, and not all the time, nobody's perfect, I totally understand that, but by making a conscious effort to treat others with kindness and respect will automatically help elevate human consciousness. And that is our job. That is our responsibility. All right, I'm just going to read the chat. So beautiful and true. We are all chosen to be here at this time for the ascension of the planet. We are all here to share a gift, whether or not we have found it yet, and all will soon unfold as the earth is moving faster and we're gaining the ability more and more tap into alternative timelines of existence and just all keep doing what you're doing, and it all unfolds in divine time. Alicia, you are so beautifully poetic. I think you ought to write a book of of messaging. It's so beautiful the way you articulate. And you're right, it is divine timing. And you know what? Somebody's gift might look like, being an amazing singer-songwriter, and maybe somebody else is it's simply just being kind. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. Carla, holy crap, I'm a singer. I just stopped here because you remind me of my friend Jessica. Carla, I just got shivers when I read that. So you were who that was for, perhaps, because I was hearing loudly that somebody who's been holding back musically. Oh, I'm getting just, I don't know if you can see this, but I've got like goosebumps all over. Carla, absolutely, that messaging is for you. That's I love that when that happens. You were meant to be here to hear that. So Carla, absolutely, the messaging that you have through your music is necessary at this moment in time, and you were called to be here so that you could hear that message, and anyone else that resonates with. And I absolutely agree with Melinda. Let me hear what Melinda had to say. Oh, you do that every week in your lives. Oh, thank you. I feel like I'm called to do that, and when I first started doing lives, I was terrified because I'm like, who wants to listen to me? And then, yeah, it's just grown into, I miss it when I can't be here. What a great message. We tend to forget how important all the small things are. There have been days that a simple smile from a stranger made my day. Me too. Or there was one time when a young man, I'm going to say maybe 13 or 14 years old, held the door. Like as he was going in, he stopped and held the door. We were a little further behind. He didn't have to do that. That's not something I often see in young people. And he stopped and held the door. And I was just like, it just felt so good. And I thanked him. I'm like, thank you so much for stopping and holding the door for us. That made my day. Who knows? Maybe me in turn thanking him made him want to hold the door more for other people. you never know, right? The small, simple things. Of all the trillions of odds to be born, each one of us we're actually crowned, and here we are and live at this moment. We are alive at this moment. We have been crowned. This is our coronation. Today is our coronation day, and we are stepping into our power. And every day we choose to put on the crown, to put on the crown every day. And maybe some days we're tired and we'll put the crown on the mantle for a little while, and then we'll put it back on again. And we choose over and over and over again every day to put on our legacy, and step into ourselves. Absolutely. And Carolina, you're right. I actually did a little bit of research. I just published a course on Insight Timer called The Joy Blueprint, Inspiring Happiness. It hasn't been approved yet, so fingers crossed they'll approve it. But the last day of the course is about recognizing that we're a divine being. And when I was researching for it, there are 8 billions, millions of possible combinations of DNA for us to exist. The chances of actual reproduction is astronomical. The egg has to choose the particular sperm that's going to fertilize that egg. And then when it's actually developing, there's a system called meiosis that changes there. So the chances of you being you will never happen again. It's impossible to create another actual you. So how can we not believe that we are incredible divine beings with that kind of stuff? Now, were we gifted everything we want to be gifted? No, probably not, in terms of our DNA, but we have exactly what we need to do what we need to do, whatever it is. Carla, I've never been to one of your lives before. You remind me so much of one of my spiritual sisters. Wonderful. I texted to her to check in. Anyway, I've been praying about singing and how to get back into it. Well, there you go. And you came here at the right time, as I feel it's God's calling me back to my voice after a long hiatus and struggles. Absolutely. I'm on the other side of it now, and my spiritual gifts are being amplified. Oh, I'm getting shivers again. And I'm actively asking for the guidance and inspiration to come back in. Well, you just received it, because as I was saying it, I heard singing. Tell someone they're supposed to be singing. And as I'm talking to you, I'm just getting shivers. So absolutely, you're here for that. That message was particularly for you. Yeah, I'm actually I'm moved here. I'm getting emotional. And Alicia, I'm currently working on a book about your near-death experience and how we can learn to tap into our well, share it with us when you're ready, Alicia. I would absolutely love to hear it. You're such an eloquent writer. Melinda said, my chat hasn't been working, so I logged onto a second device. Thanks for reading them loud. Okay, good. I kind of read them quickly because I'm I don't know if people can read it, but I figure sometimes I listen to lives and I'm doing other things and I don't see the chat. And Alicia and Nancy must go now and get kids ready for school, but it's always a delight to tap into your beautiful energy and messaging on a Monday morning here in Australia. Wishing you all here a magically and divinely aligned week ahead. So beautiful. Thank you for the blessing, Alicia, and give your kids a wonderful hug. And I hope you enjoy your day. Welcome, Carla. Nancy's amazing. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Melinda. And Chantel, new research shows that the egg chooses the sperm, not the sperm choosing the egg. The egg repels the other sperm. So it actually, that's amazing. And again, that's just proof that we are divinely amazing to be here. And yes, Anna, the amazing message for Carla. I can't wait. Carla, I hope that we get a chance to somehow tap into your music. If you want to share anything in terms of how we might find you or anything like that, please let us know. Because yes, absolutely, Carla, this is your divine message that you are meant to be singing. Absolutely. Yes, Trisha captured that so beautifully. Not be afraid of being afraid. Awesome. Love it. Okay. Well, you know what? Let me just check if there's any more messaging. Is there anything else right now for collective wisdom? Nothing. So we're good to move forward into the second part where you can put your names in and I will write them down. I'm going to stop my recording.